In August of 2013, a network came on the scene called Pivot. It was aimed at millennials, and it comes from Participant Media, the famous filmmaker responsible for such films as Syriana, Good Night and Good Luck, and documentaries as well. Well, nearly 2 years into the run, Pivot has got some interesting track record to talk about. For example, scripted TVs like Please Like Me, and the new critically acclaimed hit Fortitude with award-winning and award-nominated Stanley Tucci in the lead. What is coming up from that network? We'll find out from the new general manager of the service momentarily, who will join us live from Los Angeles. But first, if you haven't seen or heard what Pivot's been up to lately and the difference it's made with people, well, check this out.
Hey, Pivot fans. You're not just watching TV, you're getting involved. Since we kicked off the Recycle Right campaign during Human Resources,
people put all kinds of trash in here.
There has been a 250% increase in demand for standardized labels on recycling bins.
Do you recycle?
I do.
On World Water Day, tax pledges from Pivot fans restored 1 million gallons of water to the Colorado River. And the Operatives campaign to end seal clubbing and to protect sea turtles has generated over 100,000 signatures.
That's what we're here for, to let them know that this is not tolerated.
Nice going, guys. Let's keep making good things happen. Visit our friends at Take Part at takepart.com/now, or just text the word pivot to 77177 and do something.
That's how you do it!
Pivot. What you watch does make a difference.
We can easily initiate change in our daily lives on a local level to solve a global problem.
And Human Resources, one of the programs you heard or saw on that clip, is produced here in the New York City metropolitan area, New Jersey to be specific. Joining us live from Los Angeles in a simulcast interview, I believe it's one of his first major interviews since taking on the new role of General Manager of Pivot, Kent Rees. Kent, welcome in.
Thank you so much. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How's the transition to overseeing the network?
It's been great. You know, there's a lot of really awesome momentum around the network. We've got great shows. We've got great interest in the network from all sort of different kinds of audiences, and really just keeping it moving has been the assignment, and it's going well so far. I've actually been at Pivot since the beginning. I came on about a year before we launched. So it's been just terrific to see it grow, and it's terrific to be in a position to keep all that great momentum going.
So nearly 2 years in, what do you see as the mandate for the network now? I
think it's, really the Pivot exists to extend the vision of our founder, Jeff Skoll, and the idea that a story well told can change the world. And Jeff kicked off with participant films, and we made movies like Food Inc. and An Inconvenient Truth, and Good Night and Good Luck, and Syriana, some of the other ones that you mentioned, about, I think, quite a few films over the years. And really, all of those films are about social relevant issues, and each of them come with a social relevance campaign. So the idea that you watch one of our movies and you are stirred up at the end. You watch The Cove and you want to do something. You watch An Inconvenient Truth and you want to do something. And really, the company exists to connect that dot, to get people to learn about an issue, get them inspired by the content and entertained by the content, and then take an action. So Pivot is sort of the natural extension of that idea of bringing that same notion to television. So all of our content fits inside that same filter of social relevance, and there's also social action campaigns tied to all of our content that allows people to take action. And that's some of what you heard or saw in that clip is some of the results of what happens when people watch our content. They get excited, they get entertained, they get involved, and they take action on the issues around it. So really, that's our mandate, is to keep that going and keep that and translating that vision to television, which has been awesome, and we've seen some really good results so far.
Have any of your original shows become sort of the face of the channel, like the one show that people can point to say that epitomizes your network?
Yeah, I think there's actually a couple that do that. Certainly, Please Like Me, which is our first scripted comedy, which is written by Josh Thomas, who's a comedian out of Australia, and it's really a great, brilliantly funny take on kind of what it means to be a 20-something today. That show was with us from day one, and that certainly has become to sort of personify the network in some ways. We also have Hit Record on TV with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which is Joe's sort of reinvention of the variety show, where he takes his community of different artists worldwide. They all come together under the Hit Record umbrella and make that show week in and week out as sort of on themes that Joe sort of sets out for them. That's a really interesting, different take on a traditional genre. And then finally, Fortitude, which is our first scripted drama. You know, I think if you look at all three of those, they all speak to, they're very, very different shows. How they're made and how they come together are very different, but all of them speak to social relevance in a radically different way. So, you know, I think all three are sort of the face of the network because it just shows that once you hit that social relevance, the platform is wide open for however we want to best execute against that idea. And really what drives it is, you know, hitting an issue in a specific way, and then how that issue is best articulated is really up to the artist and the network to figure out what's the best kind of show to illustrate that issue. And I think that's one of the things that makes this unique is that, you know, nobody else is really trying to do that in TV, and it's awesome to see how it's been going.
One of the most offbeat things about the channel's existence so far has been trying to do different types of variety shows. You mentioned Hit Record on TV, which is coming back for a second season this year. Last year, we covered a program called Freestyle Love Supreme that was done here in New York with the popular group which mixes hip-hop, mixes improv, mixes music together. And I'm curious if you think that's perhaps the, like myself, the surprising development of Pivot, this idea of taking the variety show in new directions.
Yeah, I think it speaks to how we approach all of our content. We want to turn all genres on their heads, really, and I think that's been one of the things that's made us unique. So I think the variety show is a great example of something we've sort of twisted and flipped on its head as one of our kinds of content, and then I think you see that in the different takes we've had on other genres as well. So but the variety show is certainly one of those, and I think that idea of being able to kind of get that direct address, speaking directly to the audience, breaking the fourth wall, doing those kinds of things are very much on brand for us as well.
We're speaking with Kent Rees. He is the new general manager of Pivot, which reaches about 50 million people by cable and satellite across the country. Kent's live from Los Angeles this half hour on Tomorrow Be Televised. Pivot did a presentation to advertisers here in New York a few weeks ago, and it seemed that the big thing that was emphasized was unscripted. So we'll get to that first. What are the new programs that are coming up in the months ahead?
So there's a couple of things. You know, we have a great tradition of documentaries coming out of participant media. So obviously we have a doc strand that we've launched recently that we're excited about, where we're taking a lot of great documentaries and from our library and from other people's, and they're hosted. And so you get a little bit more of an experience when you're watching those hosted documentaries. So that's certainly one way that we're hitting the unscripted stuff. And I think that the a couple other things that we're looking at is a show called Secret Lives of Americans, which is a great show that takes a little bit different tack. It's sort of self-generated around this idea of like kind of self-reporting. So people who are living with very intense issues like food insecurity or homelessness, or they might have an illness or a disease that they can't really talk about, or has been keeping it a secret for a long time. And what's interesting about that show is that it's sort of shot in a different way. I mean, there are producers involved, but the idea is really that these people are sort of documenting themselves. We're really excited about that show coming out probably later this year, and we're excited to sort of see how that goes. Angry Planet is another take on unscripted. It comes out April 17th, Friday at 10. I got to get that in there. And Angry Planet is sort of a reboot of a series that we've had on our air for a while, where George Karunis is a traveler who goes into extreme environments all around the world and looks at how climate change is impacting the environment all across the board, which is a very interesting take on sort of those issues as well. And you kind of get that front row seat to what's happening out there. And then that show and all these shows come with the social action campaigns that I mentioned as well, having a partner through our social action team who can help us address these issues very directly. So every show sort of has a call to action in some way, shape, or form attached to it, which we're really excited about. So, yeah, those are just a couple examples of how we're looking at unscripted coming up this year.
With these shows, are there opportunities for cable and satellite operators and subscribers to be involved in these social action projects?
Yeah, I mean, certainly. We have all of our shows are run through TakeHeart.com, which is our sister website, and there are opportunities to take actions there, sign petitions, get involved in a variety of ways and learn more information. And yeah, so we certainly are open and excited to sharing that opportunity with our partners. I mean, one of the things we like to say around here is that saving the world is a team sport. So we're always open to bringing more and more people in to do that specifically. We partnered with a couple of different operators around film festivals, things like that. We've brought the content to those markets. So that's one of the ways we've activated with some partners as well, which we're excited about that. We had a film about PTSD that we allowed, that we screened it in various markets and stuff, and there's some local activation with that stuff as well. So yeah, we're really open to that and are excited about what we've done so far.
Go back to Secret Lives for a second. You mentioned that the subjects involved are going to really sort of document themselves. Are they going to get like GoPro cameras to do that? And also there's a show called Connected that is premiering this month on AOL, which some people can get on smart TV sets or smart TV making devices, which is sort of a similar kind of thing where, again, people are, and this is over a 6-month period, people are documenting their lot in life.
Yeah. No, I think it's GoPros, but it's also just, social media, the iPhone, the flip phone, whatever it is, that people are doing this kind of stuff already, right? I mean, I think we're all kind of self-documenting all the time, whether we recognize that that's what we're doing or not. And I think what makes Secret Lives of Americans different is it really is tied to the issues and really specifically what it means to be living with these issues and having nobody know. And in every episode, an individual needs to share their secret with somebody so they can move forward in some way and get help that they need or, impact their lives in some meaningful way. So there really is that kind of moment of truth that all of them go through. And that we think is one of the things that's going to be really powerful and specific about the show is this idea that what does it mean to live out of your car and to be getting away with it, on some level but having it be totally unsustainable, and what is the impact that has on an individual who's dealing with it. And we just think it's yet another example of a unique way to bring issues to life.
One impression that was left on some people from this advertiser-only attended presentation was uncertainty about the status of scripted television at Pivot at a time when we're seeing every other cable network, broadcast network explode what they're doing in scripted TV. We've seen what Netflix is doing and Hulu and Amazon and so forth. What is the status of scripted programming at Pivot? Where is it going?
It's absolutely part of what we're trying to do. I mean, we really are genre, as I was saying before, sort of genre agnostic. And you get through that filter of social relevance and it's wide open. So for certain people and certain issues, scripted is a great way to tell those stories. And for other issues and other ways to do it, it's unscripted or, turning a variety show on its head or whatever it is. But scripted is much part of our plans as anything else. We're really bullish on it as well. It just so happened that this time around, at this time of the year, we had some really exciting unscripted stuff to announce. And as you know, those cycles can be really different, right? As you're going through trying to figure out what the life and challenges of getting a scripted show together can be very different than an unscripted show. Not better, not worse, just different. So, just in terms of where we were in our time cycle at this point, it was just that simple. We're bullish on both things.
Is there anything in the hopper that can be talked about? And while we're at it, talk about Fortitude. How is that going? And if you want to use our show today to say it's being renewed for a second season, go for it.
We're really excited about that show. We've had tremendous response in the press and from an audience perspective. We're hopeful, but I have nothing to report at this time. We're really just, looking at that and like I said, other, scripted programming. So the opportunities are there, and we're exploring everything we can get our hands on. We actually have something in development, a show called Shrink, which is from Chuck Martin from Arrested Development and Gene Dumanian's production company. It's about a young man who moves into his parents' garage to set up his own psychiatric practice or psychology practice because he's so overwhelmed with student debt that the only way he can sort of move forward is to try to pay it off by becoming a shrink out of his parents' garage. So great way to sort of touch on an issue through a very, very funny pilot and comedy. So, there's a lot of different ways that we can figure this out, scripted and unscripted. And as long as we're staying true to that mission of social relevance, we think it's all totally viable.
One last unscripted question, scripted question, Kent. At last year's Upfront, which was a press situation, Evan Shapiro, your predecessor, introduced a project called Creative Collection, which was an idea of viewers and independent producers to come up with pilot ideas in short form that may become Pivot series in the future. Is that still happening? What's the status of that project?
Yeah, so that's still in development. We're still kind of cooking that and working it through. There's no dearth of ideas out there, so certainly something we're excited about, and the opportunity to connect with people directly that way is a great idea, and we still think it's very much in the mix for us potentially as it goes through the development process.
Pivot, which is run by Participant Media, is available in about 50 million households around the country on cable and satellite. We're speaking with Kent Rees. He is the new general manager of the network. He joins us live from Los Angeles this hour in a simulcast exclusive on Tomorrow Be Televised. Happy to have you with us on this first April edition of Monday, 2015. Simon Applebaum with you live from the studios of Brooklyn Independent Media in New York. We're simulcast today on Blog Talk Radio and on BIM. And if you have a question or comment for Kent, don't be shy. Give us the call. Here's that number you use, 646-652-2906, or use our chat room, Simon Apple 04 by name. Coming up on the show Friday, we'll say a lot about smart TVs, smart TV making devices, and where they're going with Michael Goodman. He's the Digital Media Services Director of research firm Strategy Analytics, and in his role, he deals with companies who want to get into that marketplace. Michael Goodman live with me Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, right here on Tomorrow We Televised. Kent, last year, your network also did something very special. You did first ever coverage, or the first ever coverage really in a long time, of one of the great awards ceremonies for television, the Peabodys, which are given every year here in New York by the University of Georgia's School of Mass Communication. And this year, the Peabodys are making some big changes. They're going from daytime to nighttime. It will be on a Sunday night. There will be a red carpet. The winners will be announced in groups, including a appearance, I believe it's next week, on Good Morning America. And you're going to be doing, I believe, a 90-minute special. Second year in a row you're doing a special, either 60 or 90 minutes, with the winners and a recap of the ceremonies. What's the buzz about the Peabodys this year from your end?
We're just so excited to be doing the second season of it, and sort of as they've kind of upped what the event is, we're excited to be upping what it is on television. And for me, the Peabody's motto is media that matters, and I can't think of anything that's more on brand for us or for participants. So it's been such a great meeting of the minds around that show. I just think it's terrific, and from my perspective, it celebrates why these things won. And I just think that's such a different, unique, interesting way to look at an award show. It's not the drum roll 5 quad screen, shots of people sitting in the audience getting ready to, be happy or sad. It really is this idea that the next Peabody goes to this show and here's why, and really digging into all of that. And, last year it was shows like House of Cards and Scandal, but also shows like Burqa Avenger, which is this animated Pakistani series that's about female empowerment. And what's amazing about that show is the teacher is also secretly the Burqa Avenger. She's sort of like this ninja character, and she uses she throws books and pencils and pens at the bad guys, and it's like this amazing, targeted at kids obviously, but it's such an amazing show that no one would know about if it wasn't for the Peabodys. And they also highlighted a YouTube viral video, and all of this is about socially relevant content that made a difference over the calendar year. And I just can't think of anything more sort of pivot-like that we would want to be involved with than something like that. It's just tremendous. And really the show becomes this sort of discovery engine for people, and also a chance to step back and understand from the creators themselves why they're doing what they're doing. And that why piece is really what makes it special.
Did the Peabody people consult with you and your fellow prom people about about making these changes, going from, let's say, an afternoon event to a primetime event, making it a weekend thing as opposed to a weekday thing, doing a red carpet? Was there any sort of consultation before these changes were announced a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it's been an ongoing process. So they came to us through various relationships, and it's been they're totally open to trying new things, and we're obviously, it's one more genre for us to turn on its head, this traditional awards show. So it's been a mutual process of development, to be honest. And I think, Dr. Jones and everybody at UGA has a lot of really great ideas, and we're just lucky to help partner with them and think about how best to make them into really compelling, interesting TV as well. So it's been a mutual evolution for sure.
I should point out that these are sort of considered the Pulitzer Prize for television. There is no category. The Peabody people can pick through an independent judging body as many awardees as they'd like. In recent years, it's been around 35, 45. And as you mentioned, there's a wide variety of, it's not just television, it's radio, it's online, it's public television, et cetera, et cetera. I should point out that Orphan Black was also one of the winners. And we had the creators of Orphan Black, Graham Matson and John Fawcett, on our show after the Peabody was announced. So it's incredible the scope of the Peabodys every year and who gets selected.
Yeah, it really is. And like I said, it leads to just learning about these things and why they won in these larger contexts. I mean, I personally I grew up around local television, and the local stuff always means a lot to me when you see who won and who's out there, in these smaller communities, whether it's radio or publishing or local TV news, who are really still out there kind of making a difference that way. I find that personally heartening, and I really enjoy that aspect of the Peabodys as well. So, and when you see everybody up on stage and people are all in the same room, and it's just under this umbrella of media that matters, it's a tremendous thing. Tremendous.
How are you adjusting to life at the top of Pivot?
It's pretty. It's been good. I really enjoy it, and I would say that it's the momentum that I think about the most. It's sort of we kicked off the call with, but this idea that the network is trying to do something different. We're differentiating ourselves every day. You heard our little tagline in there that what you watch does make a difference, and that promise has made it pretty easy to think about the network as a whole, and finding ways to kind of organize both our internal messaging and our external messaging under that banner. And then finding new and inventive ways to make it real. I mean, it's a privilege, to be perfectly honest, to be in a position to do that. And there's a lot of TV out there. I've spent my career in a lot of interesting places, and it's great to have the opportunity to launch something from scratch, and then to be in a position to help it grow with the great team we have here internally. So it's been an honor. That's the word I have to use.
Nearly 50 million people can watch Pivot across the country on cable and satellite. Check your local news for how the network plays in your area, and you can learn more 24/7 online at www.pivot.tv. That's www.pivot.tv. Ken Rees, new general manager of Pivot, thanks for joining us from Los Angeles. Congratulations on your new role at the top, and all the very best to you going forward.
Thank you so much, Simon. I really appreciated talking to you, and let's do it again sometime soon.
You got it. You got a day. Take care. Have a great week.
Thanks, man. You too.
Ken Rees joining us live from Los Angeles. Hope to see him in New York May 31st when the Peabodys take place here at Cipriani's Wall Street.